Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the most complex financial stories out there. Today we're diving into a story about departures and payouts at Hillman Solutions Corp. Buckle up because this one has some interesting details about how companies handle executive transitions. And hey, if you like getting these insights, consider subscribing and definitely join our Discord community, linked in the description down below. We have some great discussions happening there. So what is the big news from Hillman Solutions Corp? Or HLMN as it is traded on the NASDAQ, a company that provides solutions like many corporations do. A lot of these filings are pretty standard, but sometimes they reveal a little bit more about the inner workings of a company. Today, we're re-looking at a report filed on the 19th of September 2025, but it is about events happening a few days earlier, specifically the 16th of September 2025. The core of this filing is about a key executive, Scott Searide, who was the president of Hillman Canada. He is leaving the company, and this report details the agreement they reached for his departure, which is set to happen on the 29th of September 2025. We actually got a heads up about this departure back on the 29th of August, but this document fleshes out the specifics of his exit. Now, when an executive leaves, especially one in a presidential role, you bet there is an agreement hammered out. This document tells us that Mr. Ride is getting some benefits in exchange for sticking to some important promises. Think of it like saying goodbye with a handshake and a set of rules. These rules include not competing with Hillman Solutions, not trying to poach their employees or customers, and generally keeping quiet about company secrets. He also has to agree not to sue the company for anything that happened in the past. Let's break down what Mr. Wright is actually getting. It is not just a simple goodbye check. First, there is a lump sum payment of over 68,000 Canadian dollars. This is basically his statutory severance pay, meaning it is what he is legally entitled to under Ontario law when his employment is terminated. Then there is the base salary continuation. This is a pretty substantial amount, over 590,000 Canadian dollars, and it will be paid out over 16 months. This is given to him instead of any other statutory severance pay, making it much more generous than the minimum requirement. On top of that, his health and dental benefits will continue for 18 months, which is a nice perk protecting his well-being after leaving. We also see a prorated bonus payment for the fiscal year 2025. He is getting over 165,000 Canadian dollars for this bonus, which he earned based on performance targets being met at 100%. This will be paid out in 2026 at the same time other senior executives get their bonuses. There is another bonus, a termination bonus of over 193,000 Canadian dollars. This is also part of his employment agreement and will be paid in 2026 alongside other executive bonuses. He is also getting a payment of over 35,000 Canadian dollars, which represents 6% of his bonus payments from the last 2 years. This is sort of a bonus on his bonuses. Now, things get a bit more complex with his stock awards. Some of his restricted stock units, or RSUs, that he had not yet earned are being modified. This means he will continue to earn them over the next 18 months, even though he is no longer working there. This is a significant benefit as it allows him to gain value from the company's stock performance post-employment. Similarly, his unvested stock options are also being modified to continue vesting over 18 months after his departure. However, there is a catch here. He needs to exercise these options within 3 months after they vest. This adds a bit of a ticking clock element to his stock awards. Finally, Hillman Solutions will cover the remaining lease payments on the company vehicle. Mr. Ride used and transfer the right to use that vehicle to him for the rest of the lease term. This is a practical benefit that simplifies his transition and provides him with transportation. This summary essentially covers the main points of the separation agreement between Hillman Solutions Corp and Scott Searide. The entire agreement is filed as an exhibit to this report, and the report is signed off by Robert O. Kraft as Chief Financial Officer on the 19th of September 2025, confirming these details are official. So what is my take on this separation agreement? On one hand, Hillman Solutions Corp seems to be handling the departure of a senior executive in a very structured and generous way. They are clearly committed to fulfilling their obligations and maintaining good relations even in separation. The extensive severance package, including salary continuation benefit coverage, and importantly the modified vesting of RSUs and stock options, suggests they value Mr. Ride's contributions and want to ensure a smooth transition without creating ill will. The company's willingness to pay out bonuses and cover vehicle lease payments shows a level of financial commitment that goes beyond basic legal requirements. However, we can also see this as a significant cost for the company. The total payout is quite substantial, and it is happening at a time when we don't have direct insight into the company's overall financial health from this filing alone. While the company demonstrates good practice in executive separation, it is always worth asking if these levels of payout align with the company's overall financial performance and strategy. For an investor, it is important to see if these executive payouts are sustainable and if they are directly linked to performance that benefits shareholders in the long run. Are these payments a reward for past service, or are they a way to avoid potential future disputes or simply a standard practice in their industry? Without more financial context from a full quarterly or annual report, it is hard to say, but the generosity here is notable. Looking ahead, Hillman Solutions will need to manage the transition in its Canadian operations. Leadership changes can sometimes create uncertainty or shifts in strategy, so it will be interesting to monitor how the company performs in the Canadian market without Mr. Wright at the helm. The company's direction seems to be towards structured executive transitions, maintaining good faith even during departures, a potentially positive sign for overall corporate governance. The risks here are mainly around the cost of such generous packages and the operational impact of losing key personnel. The opportunity lies in leveraging these well-managed transitions to foster a positive internal culture and attract future talent. Overall, Hillman Solutions Corp appears to be a company that handles executive departures with significant financial commitment aiming for amicable separations. While this is a positive sign for good corporate practice, it also represents a considerable expense that investors should be aware of. Alright, that is our breakdown of this Hillman Solutions Corp filing. What is your take on these executive payouts and what do they signal for the company? As future, drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.